Welcome to the Midweek message. We're taking some lessons from Ecclesiastes. We're in chapter 1, and I'm reading from the Contemporary English Version of the Bible. We're going to begin reading in verse 15 through verse 18, which is the end of the chapter. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 15. If something is crooked, it can't be made straight. If something isn't there, it can't be counted. I said to myself, you are by far the wisest person who has ever lived in Jerusalem. You are eager to learn, and you have learned a lot. Then I decided to find out all I could about wisdom and foolishness. Soon I realized that this too was as senseless as chasing the wind. The more you know, the more you hurt. The more you understand, the more you suffer. So let's look at those verses one by one. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 15. If something is crooked, it can't be made straight. If something isn't there, it can't be counted. Now, I understand that maybe we've got machinery today that could straighten things, but in practical terms, once something is bent, it's hard to get it back in shape. If you've ever bent a piece of metal and then tried to straighten it out, extremely hard to do. If you've ever straightened a spring and then tried to get it to regain its coil, it's just about impossible to do. And Solomon said, the crooked thing can't be made straight. Then he said, if something isn't there, it can't be counted. Now, a lot of times we make projections, but remember that a projection is a possibility. It is not an actuality. And so Solomon is expressing his idea that life is senseless. You can't straighten the bad thing out. You can't count something that's not there. And he might be saying in that you can't count on anything. Harder and harder, I realize as I live, that to find things that are truly reliable, that you can truly count on. Verse 16, I said to myself, you are by far the wisest person who's ever lived in Jerusalem. You are eager to learn, and you have learned a lot. So if a person tries to gain knowledge, tries to get wisdom, they can make some progress. And Solomon saw that in himself. He said, you wanted to learn. You've learned a lot. But where did that lead him? Verse 17. Then I decided to find out all I could about wisdom and foolishness. So he pursued that passion. Soon I realized that this too was as senseless as chasing the wind. You learn, gain knowledge. What does it ultimately amount to? Solomon said it's just like chasing the wind. Everything is senseless. Nothing made sense. And this was the conclusion Solomon reached after trying to find out knowledge, after trying to apply wisdom and exercising his God-given gifts in that area. He said it's senseless to try to find out and try to learn and try to figure out, because you can't really figure things out. And then he said, finally, for chapter 1, verse 18, the more you know, the more you hurt. The more you understand, the more you suffer. Sometimes it does seem that life's that way. The more you try, the more futile it becomes. The more you know, the more you hurt. It's easier to be infatuated by a dream than it is a reality. The more you understand, the more you suffer.